Good morning, people in the south. Good afternoon, my people in the east, my friends in the west. Good day and good evening, my lovely friends in the north. How you guys doing? It's been a week. It's been a week. It's been a week. It's been a great week. So, on this beautiful day, I want to engage about something very important for entrepreneurs across Africa and the world at large, especially the emerging entrepreneurs as well as innovators, people who are coming up with ideas that result into products and services. There's a situation where entrepreneurs come up with ideas and services, or innovators that come up with disruptive ideas and services, which tends to be sold earlier to investors or other people who are interested in buying the ideas or buying the products or the services, simply because as innovators and emerging entrepreneurs, we mostly scared and terrified by the very same market that we're trying to get ourselves into, and we find exiting the business being the quickest solution to the problem. You know what I mean. And we exit quite early simply because we do not believe and trust in what we're capable of doing, and I think this is resultantly coming from the fact that we don't understand marketing, and we don't also understand, or we don't have the ability to sell, which I would say it's one of the most prerequisites for any entrepreneur to start the journey, to actually have, because if you are an innovator or innovators, I understand, but entrepreneurs, you have to be able to sell. You have to be able to, you need to have the skill to sell. And in a process of being able to sell, understand marketing, understand how to market the products and the services that you're selling. So as much as you're going to be good in selling, you will probably be very good in marketing. So in essence, there is no entrepreneur who can be able to sell, who can be good in selling, but be quite bad in marketing. Because before you can be good in selling, you would have came up with ways to be able to sell that particular product. Those ways and charming approaches and methods, it's actually one of the things that we apply in marketing. So when you market, when you market the product and the service, you there's a guy that I like watching on TikTok. He speaks like this: when you market and when you service. So I always remember him when I start speaking like that I need to tone down on the harshness of the, So marketing and selling it's actually a key aspect of our new disruptive innovations, as well as solutions and products that we come up with in the market. So you need to have a strong muscle in terms of marketing and selling. So if you're not on par with selling and marketing, you are going to have issues. So I think this episode will be more beneficial to you to understand, because today I'm talking about a theory of diffusion of innovation, which is something that an innovator and an entrepreneur need to understand. A theory of diffusion of innovation. What is diffusion? Diffusion is when something. I was eating something nice, so I'm tempted to dig back again. But hey, so diffusion is when something is. What can I give an example with? Like when you light up an explosive, when you light up an explosive, like and it goes boom, that process of it's called diffusion. It's diffusing, you are diffusing it. So diffusion simply means how something gets to reach its ultimate purpose, so to speak. Yeah, when something gets to reach its ultimate purpose, that process of that something going through a route of reaching the ultimate purpose, it's diffusion. So the theory of diffusion of innovation is divided into segments, which I'm going to touch base on throughout the episode. But before I get to that, we need to understand what diffusion is. So let's take a product or a service, or let's say a very highly disruptive product or service, and it has to diffuse into people's hearts so that they understand the product, they understand the service. As it diffuses into people's hearts, people will be able to embrace it. When they embrace it, it starts to serve the purpose it was designed for. Say, for instance, what's new in the market? What's new? Okay, I've seen people are now using. Actually, people have been using smartwatches for quite some time now. Yeah, I'm going to give you an example with smartwatches. You buy a Samsung phone, it comes along with a Samsung smartwatch. With the phone, with the smartwatch, you are able to interact with your phone. I'm just not sure about the range. And the smartwatch does not necessarily work as a watch to show you the clock. It shows you more than just the clock or just the time. The watch can be able to accept calls. The watch can be able to monitor your steps. The watch can be able to do all of that. So these smartwatches were not there in the last 10 years or so. We didn't have these smartwatches. So these smartwatches were a disruptive innovation that disrupted timepieces like Rolexes, timepieces like, you name them. So as it diffuses into people's heart, people started to love how the watch interacts with their life. So that process of the product getting to connect with people's heart, that process, it's the diffusion part of the innovation, which is the watch. So as it diffuses into your heart and start to say, hey, I see a lot of people have got these watches and smart watches, and when they run, they can be able to see how many or the distance they've covered and so on. That is it starts to diffuse into your heart, As it diffuses into your heart, you start to connect with the innovation and you react to the innovation. That is the diffusion of innovation I'm talking about. So I'm going to take you through the theory of that throughout this episode. I don't want to show you what I'm eating, so I'm gonna go very fast. No, you don't see what I'm eating. So, After creating value on your, in the last episode, I think I spoke about value creation. After creating value on your product or your service, and you need to also start to understand the theory of diffusion of innovation. If you can understand this, it will be quite difficult for you to exit your business quite quicker or faster than you can actually see the business or the innovation diffusing quite well within your customers. Like I said earlier when I started, that entrepreneurs tend to exit their business quite early because they have fear of the unknown in terms of customers embracing their services and products. So you want to get rid of this faster and quicker before it becomes a problem to you. So the innovation and the service that you came up with, people are starting to embrace and connect with it. Then the innovation starts to diffuse into customers' hearts, people's hearts. People start to love it. It's going to go in different segments. So I think there's four or five segments, but I'll take you through all those segments. The first one is about 2% of the entire spectrum of customers. The entire spectrum, I'm talking about all the targeted customers. We can simply put it as your TAM, your total addressable market. If you go to one of our previous episodes, we talk about types of markets. So we can just say your TAM, your total addressable market. 2% of that, it's innovators. So 2% of people who are going to quickly diffuse or quickly embrace the diffusion of your innovation, it's innovators. It's people who understand innovation. It's people who understand how things evolve, how technology evolves from one stage to the next. It's people who have that understanding, that ear, that eye to see that this is something that is going to disrupt a lot of products in the market. Those are the people who are going to be the first to invest in the product or service. Those are the people who are going to be the first to buy the product or service. Even myself, I haven't had that watch yet, but I know eventually I'm gonna have that watch. I'll understand a little bit later about me having that watch at the later stage, not now. But 2% of your total addressable market or your total customers, it's innovators, it's people who understand this thing. So you need to understand that for you to attain that 2%, it might take you a bit of time. It might take you a bit of time. So you need to understand that there's still 98% of your customers that are still waiting to embrace this product. They still need to connect with this product. The product is still in the process of diffusing into their hearts. You know what I mean? So 2% of that, it's about 2%. It might be 2 point something, 2.3, 2.4, but about 2% of all your customers are going to be innovators. People who will be buying that product first will be people who understand innovation, people who understand how these things work. And then the next segments. Now the customers are growing. Your customer base is growing. It's getting bigger now. It's about 13% of those customers. That is the second group of customers. This group of customers, which is 13% of the entire pie, it's called early adopters. The first 2% was innovators because it's people who understand. The second group, which is about 13%, it's early adopters. Early adopters means these are the people who like new things. These are they might even not have a reason to buy a new product or a new disruptive product or service. But because it's new, they just want to have it. So that they are the first to have it. They are called early adopters. So you need to understand that from the 2%, you're going to have to move to early adopters. And early adopters, those I call them your free marketing and advertising agents, because these are the people, 13% is a big chunk. These are the people who are going to take your product out to the people, you know. I remember when DVD players came in, which are now outdated. When DVD players came in, I have a friend who is an early adopter. So he went and bought one. I understood and saw a DVD player through him. Because I'm not an early adopter, I first want to see how things diffuse. And then I later had a DVD player because I saw it from an early adopter. So early adopters are actually people who are going to take out this product and market it because they don't really have that much of a reason to buy. They just buy because this is new. They just buy because something is new. They always want to be the first to buy. They always want to be the first to be seen with this thing. I want to be the first to be seen in a Mercedes-Benz V-Class. You know, those are early adopters. 13% of the chunk is early adopters. Then the next segment of the entire pie, it's the segment called the chasm. I'm not sure if you guys understand what the chasm is. A chasm is like it's like when geographically when there's an earthquake, geographically when there's an earthquake, the typically in your mind, if they say there was an earthquake in some place in Asia, I know these things happen in Asia, and then all you see in your mind is earth split into two. You know, there's a huge trench where earth has split into two and people were shaking, houses fell and stuff, and there would be a very big hole where there's a big trench that was caused by the earthquake. That very same thing, it's called a chasm. So it's figuratively in business, they use it as a defining factor between different types of groups of customers, a chasm. So segment number 3 of the entire chart, or the entire pie or cake of customers is the chasm. So after the 2% and the 13%, you'll get to the chasm. The chasm is where now, remember the early adopters, they've been having the smartwatch, going around with the smartwatch, showing people that I can run with this watch can show me, I can take calls, I can talk to this watch with my phone in the car, I can command my phone with this watch. Then people will start to love it, and they'll go to the shops and look for the same watch. Hey, I've seen someone wearing this watch, then the watch will start selling in numbers, Those are the early adopters. Their job is to take the product out to the people. Now, the chasm determines how much work, so to speak, have these 13% done. If they've done a good work, your chasm is not going to be that much impactful to your business and the product and the scalability and the growth of the product. Because the chasm is the one that determines the difference between the entire groups, So that's how they refer to it in business. So there will be that gap where it would actually look like everything was going up. People were buying, because these are innovators and early adopters. Then all of a sudden, the sales starts dropping. They drop, and then it becomes quiet. That's when the chasm actually starts kicking in. And as your chasm is kicking into your business, then if you don't understand, you'll close doors and quit, or you'll exit the business by selling it, because you don't understand the diffusion of innovation, the diffusion of innovation. So you must understand this so that you can be able to understand that I'm going through a chasm, and you must give chasm a specific time. Sometimes it won't take time. Sometimes it might take a bit of time. You need that patience. There's an episode where I spoke about patience, that you need the night to see the stars. So your chasm is your night. So when your chasm comes, you know that this product is going through the chasm. After the chasm, then you get to a new segment. This is the bigger boom of the biggest chunk of your customers, the customers that you targeted. And this is about 34% of the entire thing. The biggest percent of the entire thing, the biggest percentage of the entire customer base that you targeted, because 34% of the entire thing now is going to go in and buy the product. And this is called early majority. Early majority are the group that comes after the chasm, because the early adopters were able to show and advertise to these early majorities. 34%, it's a lot. And you start to see them coming in numbers. Then your deep will start to show a bit of growth, and then you start to pick up, and then you start to match your last peak or best performance, and you start to surpass, and then you will start to realize, hey, I almost left, I almost sold the business. Look at me now. That will be your early majority. 34% of that. Then the next group, or the next category, it's another 34% of another group, which is your late majority. That's us. Remember I said I will tell you why I haven't got the watch, because I'm a late majority. I'm in the group of late majority. We are those that want to see the first few who have done it, the first few who have used it, the first few who have benefited from it. I'm a believer of such. So we are called the late majority. About 34% of such chunk as well goes to the late majority. Late majority are those people who have seen the innovators having it, the early adopters having it, the early majority having it, and then they start to believe, that's the thing. It's like electric cars. Many of you are late majorities. In terms of electric cars, you'll see. You're not going to start buying the electric car until you start seeing the early adopters and the early majorities driving the cars with chargers everywhere. Then you start to say, but there's chargers everywhere. Now we can buy, because you've seen it somewhere. From who? Early adopters. Early adopters saw it from who? Innovators. You understand? And early majority saw it from you, early adopters. You understand? That's how it's going to be. So, that's how the diffusion of innovation goes. This is the theory of the diffusion of innovation. I hope you're still with me. The last chunk, which is about 16%. This is the last group of the entire chart. So when you look at your total addressable market, you have your last group. These are the people now, the non-believers at all. These are the, what do they call them in the Bible? Non-believing Thomases or something. These people don't believe until pressure of something starts forcing them. Maybe if it's electric cars, then maybe the market starts to force out the internal combustion cars or vehicles. Then they will be forced to change their internal combustion vehicles into electric vehicles. Rather than that, they won't do it. They will just stay with their internal combustion vehicle. So rather than that, they will not buy that watch until when they go to the shops, they are being told that, no, we don't keep the analog clocks anymore. We don't tick the watt clocks anymore. We only the old digital clocks anymore. We're only keeping the smart clocks or the smart watches. Then they'll be forced to buy the smart watches. These are called the laggers. So they are the laggers. They're the last ones to take up this technology and start using it. Almost 16 point something percent, almost 16% of the entire TAM market. It's the laggers, the laggers. They are the laggers. So these people are lagging behind with everything. So do you understand how this entire pie works in terms of the targeted customers that embraces the diffusion of the innovation, of the disruptive innovation that you have introduced into the market? This is how it works. And when you run your business, when you are an innovator, and when you come up with services, when you come up with products, new products, and you understand this, I bet you there's no way that you will get your products wrong. You understand marketing, you understand selling, and you understand the theory of diffusion of innovation. There's no way that you'll get it wrong because you understand. Go and look for successful businesses who came up with disruptive innovations. They've went through all of this. And at the time you get to the laggers, then you'll be selling and exiting your business at the right time, rather than exiting at the wrong time, and you end up getting nothing out of something that you worked so hard for. That is the theory of diffusion of innovation. Very important for you to understand as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, irrespective of what product you are bringing into the market. It doesn't matter how small, how big. You need to understand this. It's very important. And lastly, before I close, remember I'm throwing in my journey and my story of innovation back when it beat me, how I have been doing things and so on. So the story that I'm currently riding on now, it's my smart skipping innovation, which is still continuing, which I said is going to take a few episodes to run. So I'm still continuing. Like I said in the previous episode, that we were given in the GCIP training, we were cooked to a level where they were sure that these guys understand exactly what needs to be done as innovators. They understand that these are the things that needs to be done for them to be able to say, we are ready, we are investment ready, our innovations have been de-risked, and investors are ready to come sit and listen to us. I think in the next episode, I'll be talking about how we pitched to our investors, a hall full of investors, and we were pitching to those investors. And that was the best time of my entire program, because that's when I was showing them what I've been working on throughout the entire 6 months. And we were, for today, I just wanted to share this part, that we were given tasks. These tasks were very intense, ladies and gentlemen. Like, they would say, go and do your customer validations. They would say, go and do your customer validations. Customer validations were not something that I did not know. It was not something new. It's something that I knew, and it was easy for me to do. But think about it. If you've never been exposed to such things, and they say to you, go and do customer validations, your submissions is for customer validations, it's in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, you must have completed about 100 customers. Customer validations means you go out in the field, you meet real people, you talk to them about what you're building. You record them, you sort of take down something from them. You ask them questions, they give you answers, maybe give them a form. You ask them questions about the product and the service that you're building. What do you think of this service? Do you think it's going to help? Then, depending on what you're building, depending on your innovation, very important. I think there's going to be an episode specially made for customer discovery, for you to understand what this customer discovery is. So one of the challenging tasks were customer discoveries in the GCIP, which I participated in. And I'm saying it was challenging because I had to go all out to meet waste management companies and recycling companies, which are not easily accessible everywhere, because they are not like your individual customers where you can just target everyone. You need to go somewhere and find these people, and they're not everywhere. So you'll find in one town there's only one waste management, and you have a target of 100. There's only 2 recycling companies, and you have a target of 100. Yo, man, this was a stretch. I had to drive around the entire country looking for. I realized this is gonna be costly for me and my business. So best way, I came up with an advanced way of doing it. So I think I'll share this more on the customer discovery episode, where I'll be entirely talking about customer discovery only. I will share my methods of approach in terms of customer discovery. So I had to employ those customer discovery methods and approaches and start to get more feedback from these customers, because some of them were far. Like I got a customer feedback as far as Knysna. It's in the Western Cape, and it's in the Western Cape of South Africa, and I'm in the northern part of the country, which is about 1,500 kilometers apart, so driving there, coming back, driving there again, it was going to be a stretch for me. So I had to come up with a way to approach this and do it better. So that's one of the tasks that we were given, and it's one of the most difficult that I had. Another task was to validate your idea. So you needed to find an institution, maybe an institution of higher learning, or institution of higher learning could be a university or University of Technology, or an engineering firm. If you're building engineering products, get engineers to validate your product or your idea, and you put together that sheet, and then you submit. So we had those targets that were here. Every day we were stressing about customer discoveries, stressing about this and that. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, that program, when you find yourself in that program, pray to God that you complete, because once you complete it, there's nothing that you will not be able to do after that. There is nothing, because it cooks you, So we went through all of those different tasks. It was a lot of tasks. There was a task that demanded you to work on your team, like specifically you're just going to work on your entire team. I'll make an episode on that as well. There's a task that you were just going to work on customer interviews. There's a task that customer interviews is customer discoveries. There's a task that we were just going to work on your legal, the entire legal part of the entire innovation. Your patents, your copyrights, that's the entire task. Then you complete, you submit. It must be a final document, signed off and submit. And then there was a task about, let me think from top of my head. I think there were more than 13, 14 tasks. So there was a task about market. You just go and work on the market. The SAM, the SOM, the TAM. You just go and work on the entire spectrum of your market. There was a task about this and this and that. So that's how it went down. And ladies and gentlemen, I will never stop talking about this program, because it was one of the best that I've ever attended. I've attended different types of programs before, trainings and stuff like that, as a newly emerging entrepreneur, but I've never attended such an intensive training and program which paid attention to details in terms of an emerging entrepreneur who does not understand what they're doing. So yeah, sometimes. So I think next week I'll touch base on other areas of the program, so that you understand the things that we go through, such that the day we come and say I'm a billionaire, or the day I'm being announced a billionaire, you understand that this guy has been through, or this company has been through, or this product or this service has been through this before it becomes worth billions. You know what I mean? So lastly, before I go, I'm recommending a book today. I recommend books. If I don't recommend books, I'll recommend a site where you can apply for support programs. So today, there's no support program that I'm going to announce. I'm recommending a book that you need to read as an emerging entrepreneur. There's a book called Crossing the Chasm. Crossing the Chasm, it's that third segment of the theory of diffusion of innovation. The first one is 2%, about 2% it's innovators. The second one is about 13% is early adopters. The third one is the chasm. The chasm is the gap between your products and your new big chunk of customers. So the book talks about how do you cross the chasm. Does it make sense? Yeah, so go look out for that book. I think there's different versions. Just look for the version that makes sense to you, and different authors as well, because it's general information. And read that book and understand exactly what you need to understand when you're building, or you're an innovator and innovating and coming up with new products and services. And I think that is going to add value to your products, value to your business, and to you as a person, to understand and know something, because the name of this channel It's called Know Something. Don't forget to subscribe. There will be a pop-up here. Just click and subscribe to the channel so that you can get more of this information to equip yourself and be able to understand where you're going as an emerging entrepreneur. And let's grow this thing together. Until next week, I'll see you next week.